I'm not surprised this one won. Humans always have an interest in themselves. If you couldn't tell, I'm not human myself, at least not entirely. But that doesn't matter. Just refer to me as the historian. I'm just someone recording events long after they happened. You don't need to know anything about me. Anyways, to humans, they're not the only intelligent species. There are many from across the informist group. While the population, as with most intelligent species, is even across all nations, so this means most nations have humans, there are some nations where the population of a certain species is higher than the rest of the species, often due to those nations coming from nations from that species' homeworld. There are two nations like this for humanity: the United Nations and the Salveti. The United Nations is a democratic federal republic like the Gijutsu-Izādo, with the red and blue striped flag with a white star, while the Salveti is an oligarchical martial state that is surprisingly accepting of minorities, with the red, gray, and black tricolor flag. They together occupy the Milky Way, the Andromeda Galaxy, and Triangulum. The United Nations controls most of this territory, while Salveti controls half the Andromeda Galaxy. Of course, humans being humans, they dislike each other, even though they're the same species. Actually, on second thought, there is a reason for this. Not a great one, but still. It's basically a massive grudge against the United Nations by the Salveti due to their origins. While going through the entirety of this would take its season of its own, I can give a quick summary. A couple of centuries later, in the 25th century, once humanity colonized most of the Milky Way, Andromeda, and Triangulum galaxies on their own, and humanity having met the other civilizations, with most of the territory being taken by all the nations, and the now United Nations nation-state forcing Luna off of the Lunar Union off of Luna and into roughly their current territory. Of course, they had other wars, but the loss of Luna was a huge blow to the Lunar Union, at least psychologically. This loss caused a regime change like the one in the Weimar Republic, and the Lunar Union became the Salveti. The now Salveti used their entire nation, from medical tech to war equipment, to contribute to the war machine to one day fight to retake Luna. Simply put, if it can contribute to military in some way, even just morale, you're alright. This philosophy is interesting as it makes the Salvati free compared to other oligarchies, being accepting minorities like members of certain religions, the LGBT community, and alien species, which is rare with these types of regimes. This means that the Salveti is a safe haven for members of these minorities, and the Lanegrifförer for those who want to be in nation who helps Lanegrifförer, which I don't understand why people would want that, but whatever. There's a lot of people like that for whatever reason, but also want to maintain the right to, fucking exist. Okay, now the United Nations. All that support for now is how they unified. They unified after the war from Luna, but preceding the war from Mars. Simply put, the Earth was not doing well at the time of the late 21st century and the early 22nd century. The planet was warming, resource wars were being raged, and the oceans became acidic. Surprised humans lasted so long on Earth, actually. They really messed up their planet, but most species do that with their homeworld as well. So the United Nations decided to take action. This started when the UN Security Council, including Russia and China surprisingly, voted to unite under a global regime when scientists determined Earth only had a decade left. So they finally had to face the consequences of not fixing the climate crisis earlier. What happened next isn't important for now, but it ended with the United Nations becoming a democratic federal republic, as I said before, and improved climate after a few decades, with them gaining a few decades because every improvement they made gave them more time. And the climate was not returned to a pre-industrial climate, but better after many wars to force nations who didn't willingly join, like the Arctic Confederation, along with nations around the world. So yeah, that's it for now. Once we do a dedicated episode for each nation, I'll go into more detail about them, like their government, culture, flag meaning, and military organization. I'll say that relations between them are bad and not improving. As you know, they literally go to war in the First Reformist Group War. I did not need to spell that out, did I? Whatever.